This episode is brought to you by our lead sponsor, Furious Photog. Have you ever thought about being on a romance book cover? I never had until the opportunity arose. And now, as you can see, a few of my covers. There we go. There's Joe. Boom. And another one, finished strong. And I think I've sold, I don't know, a shit ton of covers. Anyways, long story short, this is a great opportunity for you to join myself and hundreds of other guys that have become a part of a billion-dollar industry with one of the first and leading brands in the field. Furious is an amazing photographer. He'll make you look good. He'll get you out there, get you on covers, and bring you close to a really cool community. And you can make some really good money doing this as well. So if this is something that you're interested in, definitely check him out. Find out more info or book with him at his website at FuriousPhotog.com. That is FuriousPhotog.com. Or check out his IG at Furious Photog. Thank you. Went to BKFC fight in New Orleans to support my brother and our athlete, Brett Williams.
Fuck yeah.
The fucking man.
Yep. The Widowmaker, baby.
Yeah.
The most intimidating nickname of all time.
And I always try to support my people, you know, and that's not necessarily a quick trip, but I can make it a quick trip. So drove down to New Orleans Friday morning at 5 a.m., stopped and saw Brett, went to eat, went to the hotel downtown, got ready, went to Brett's fight till about midnight, got back to the hotel downtown, went to Bourbon Street, which, no offense to anybody listening in from New Orleans, but it's the dirtiest, stinkiest, most degenerate place I've probably ever been. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Bourbon Street, like New Orleans wasn't bad, but like I really get to check it out. They got these fucking crazy, massive graveyards there that I want to look at. So if I ever go back to New Orleans, I just want to check out
the catacombs.
Dude, they're like on each side of the highway, just massive fucking graveyards.
And everything there has to be because like the water table is so high that they can't bury bodies underground. So everything's like these above ground crypts. I'm pretty sure but
they have like one side that's underground shit, and I guess like a bunch of them, like when Katrina happened, like coffins were floating up and shit.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh yeah,
but so metal.
But like, yeah, it was brutal. I'm like hell yeah, dude. Fucking get a clip of that and add some good music to it. Jesus. Like, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So New Orleans is pretty. Bourbon Street was gross, man. Especially at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was just like, what the fuck, dude? I had my weed pen and I was just ripping it because that was the only thing that could like. I was so in tune with the energy there, and I was just like, ugh.
Didn't like
it. So I just was like ripping my fucking pen, and like, so I was pretty stoned, and I was just like, all right, dude, I can deal with this kind of. And I remember stepping in like a puddle and it splashed on my leg, and everything smells like trash. And like, dude, I could just feel like this drop running down my leg, but I didn't want to touch it. I was like, no, I'm just going to let it be. Yeah, it was gross.
I don't even want to know what it is.
I don't even want to know. Yeah, I mean, it definitely had AIDS in it. I'm pretty sure. That puddle did. And so, yeah, it was pretty weird. But anyways, got back to the hotel, slept 2 hours. Got the fuck up, hit the road at 6:30 Saturday morning, drove 8 hours home. And then I met my woman, changed, and then drove up to my nephew's 2-year-old birthday party, and I slept through the whole thing pretty much. I don't know if you saw my picture on my story. Oh, dude, I went over, I was talking to people, and it hit me, man. Like, I was all fired up, and then when I got there, I was just like, oh my God. And like, I go sit on the couch, I was like, hey, everybody, I'm just gonna like close my eyes for a second. And I'm just like sitting like this. And dude, like, this is in the living room, and I guess they did the present opening and everything. And I slept through it, and all of a sudden I hear everybody singing happy birthday, and he's like right here, everybody's around me. And I was just like, oh, happy birthday to you. Like fucking, like I look over, Lydia's just laughing at me. I was like, fuck, I'm dead, bro. And so it was that's funny, exhausting. And then like, you know, Sunday had a meeting here, like first thing in the morning. That lasted a while, then had to drive an hour to Smithfield to get a bunch of shit from the baby shower, come back. And then yesterday, you know, I was up at 4:30. I worked my ass off all day, picked him up from the airport, didn't go to bed till like 11 last night.
Oh, yeah.
Woke up at 4:30 again this morning. And I'm just like, God, I just need like one little slow period. But I got Saturday, I've got my day to myself.
There you go.
I'm going about an hour and a half away from here. I'm going to go. And this is,
Are you doing your trip?
Yeah, I suggest this for anybody that's like really trying to go deep. I know a lot of people aren't really educated with psychedelics, but a lot of people on here probably do psychedelics. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what y'all do in your private.
You come a little closer for me.
But see, I don't even know how to do the mic. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm driving. I got a spot I'm going to, and you drive out there, and it's a small parking lot, and it's at this state park, and it's so cool, man. You get there, and it's like a half-mile hike to the campground, and there's like 5 primitive spots. And they're really spread out and they're huge spots, but all around the spots, like it's like a drop off, dude. And you just see this view of this fucking like this valley with the mountains and shit and a river down there. And there's a trailhead right there. So you can hike down and go under this waterfall and shit. So I'm going to do some hiking around and like do some stuff with the land. But anyways, yeah, Saturday I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fucking get there around 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm just going to go spend some time walking around the land. I'm bringing some firewood, set up my hammock, and I'm going to eat a big-ass chocolate bar, mushroom chocolate bar.
I just noticed in your thing there's a thing in there, and on the front of it, it says, "This feels like flying." I was like, what the fuck is this? And I turned it over, and it said psilocybin.
Yeah, so that's the thing I'm taking. I'm going to take that out there. I'm going to eat the whole bar.
That's what that is?
I've only eaten like 2 pieces at once, and I've had pretty trippy trip.
So if I ate it, I should be worried. I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't be worried. I'd just be like, man, you might want to ground yourself here for the rest of the day. You're going to go home anytime soon. I'm going to trip my balls off. And like, really though, like the point of like doing a heavy dose like that, they call it a heroic dose.
Oh yeah.
Is really just to like do that inward work. Like I told people on the podcast before about the trip I did, about a year and a half ago. And, it was just life-changing, man. It made me feel all these things I've been through in life, like I actually faced them, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, I got to do this on a yearly basis. And when I met Lydia, I was like, hey, just so you know, every year I'm going to take, at the beginning of the year, I'm going to take a trip out to the woods and just trip mushrooms really hard and not contact anybody, like no text or anything, and just like turn my phones on airplane mode and just fucking go inward, man. Mm-hmm. Do some heavy self-work. And it's going to be trippy because I'll be out there, in the middle of nowhere, way out in the woods, and there's other shit out there, obviously. And then, it's just going to be crazy, but I'm big on stuff like that. So if anybody's ever interested in doing some work, try this out.
I've definitely experimented a lot with like different hallucinogens and stuff. And I'm excited to one day do a heroic dose of my own. And definitely I would like to do it the same way. No electronics and in nature, and immerse myself in nature and nothing else,
I'm going to set up a chair. I got like the same setup, dude. I'm going to set up a chair. I'm going to have my hammock set up there, of course. Like there's a really good spot like 10 foot from the cliff that I've been in before. But yeah, dude, I'm going to bring a little cooler. I'm going to have a bottle of wine. I'm going to have a pack of cigarettes. And I'm going to have a couple joints rolled. And like I'm going to do my thing in the woods. And then like when it starts to get dark, I'm just going to sit by the fire, man, and just like do that cycle and just sit there and just fucking work on myself, man. So it'll be cool. I always look forward to it. It's always nerve-wracking. I'll probably, I don't know. I'm excited.
Were you about to say I'll probably throw up?
Nah, man.
I thought you were about to say I'll probably throw up.
Mushrooms do make you they make me nauseous. Some people don't get it. They make me nauseous.
Doesn't ayahuasca make you purge?
Well, yeah, it's supposed to. But mushrooms, like, it's just because it's poison, right? Technically, psilocybin is. So it can make you nauseous. But I'll take, like, Dramamine before. And, like, the I don't get nauseous at all. That's the way to do it. Some Dramamine. And so I'm pretty excited, man. I always feel like I've asked, I get in my head a lot and I'm like, am I selfish for like doing this? Cause we haven't had as much time as we'd like together lately. Mm-hmm. And it's like my only weekend to do it. And am I like selfish to do this? She's like, no. And I'm like, but I feel selfish, but it's like at the end of the day, man, I just need that fucking time to myself, every once in a while. I think everybody does.
Dude, everything you do is for.
That's the thing. I'm like, I thinking about it, I was like, man, most of the shit I do is for other people though. Yeah, so if I want a fucking day to myself to like do some work, like why the fuck not?
You deserve that on a fucking weekly basis, much less once a year to, with what you're talking about. I mean, you need some time to yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's like real important for like everyone to take some time for yourself to like look inward and, like just have some time to yourself to really think about everything you're doing in life and, like think things through. Give yourself time to relax, reset, and
exactly. And the last time I did it, I just went through like a really gnarly like breakup and lost a bunch of shit, and just like it was just like this whole crazy transition in my life. And it was like just a few days after that. And so I was like, that was heavy presence along with like feeling everything else I've been through. And so it was a totally different, my life, I was just in a totally different place. But like since then, you know, like I fucking, you know, built this up. You know, I've lost some people in my life, but I've also gained like the best. I've got my, you know, my woman, my fiance, we're having a baby. Like, dude, it's just a totally different
been a crazy year
place I'm in. So it's going to be really interesting to see like what this one's like. So I don't know.
I'm stoked for you, man.
We'll see. I'm fucking pumped.
It's crazy. Like just since last time I came, like me and Joe were talking about last night, how like, I mean, you look at the board and see how many people have been on the podcast and got the whole new build out now with all the like recovery stuff here and, you know, a lot more shelves now. So
yeah,
it is awesome to see the growth, man. And it's great.
I think that is a good point because he has a really good perspective on
the growth. Like he's the one that put this wall up. He did all that.
Yeah. Well, like whenever he came in here a minute ago, he's like, this wall turned out sick. And I was like, have you never seen that? Like, and I was like, oh wait, I guess you guys did. You were the ones who fucking, yeah. So it's really interesting. But yeah, so we obviously flew way past the intro at this point, but that's okay.
Cool. We're talking. Okay. I'll get the intro.
What's up?
Going.
Welcome everybody. Steve, Joe, Logan. Yeah. What's up?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Relentless podcast. This is Joe Adams, and we got my man Logan Hyder over here.
Let's go.
With Cinema 83 LLC. He's the best producer in town, and he is the also best co-host you could ever ask for, and also he's mine. So fuck off.
I'm all yours, baby boy.
Yeah, and again for the second time around, and it's been a while, is the man Steve O. Crawford, our very own pirate.
The man, yes, sir. The man himself.
Yeah, so, the fucking man. Honestly, go ahead.
No, you're good. Do you think?
Honestly, Steve and I now go way back. I mean, you know, if you haven't checked out his episode of him telling his story about how he lost his leg and like all his life before that and like the things he was into, like battling drug addiction and like losing his leg in a motorcycle accident, it's definitely a really extremely inspiring story. And I think everybody should go check that out. I mean, it's really cool, his attitude and like how he's overcome that. Very similar to my situation as far as like the overcoming and the mindset and using this tragedy as an opportunity, you know? And so, you know, and here we are, like we stay in touch. I mean, we don't talk as much as we would like to, but I mean, we both lead pretty fucking busy lives.
Across the country.
Yeah, we live across the country and we like, you know, I'll be fucking driving around, like doing something and I'll hit up Steve. He's fucking snowboarding or you never know, man. So it's just, you know, we do stay in touch and check in on each other. So we become really close. He's like a brother to me now.
Yes, sir.
And now he's back. He's in town for this convention and decided to come a couple days early and hang out. And dude, his life's changed a lot. Mine's changed a lot since then. So we're really just going to catch up on that, see what he's been up to, and like talk about some other things he wanted to speak on. So
Steve was like the first episode back. So we have the story of the podcast is basically we did 5 episodes in the old place, a totally different setup. You know, I think it was good to get our feet in, but like we consider it like we started it in August.
Yeah.
You know, and the first 5 episodes, I don't know, we got to come up with a name for that. It was like a soft launch or something, but really it started in August. So we did the first episode with you and I, but then the first real episode was Steve.
Yeah.
And so he really, and I think that looking back on it now, I think it's pretty self-evident that you kind of set the tone, I think, for us moving forward. I think. Would you agree with that?
I agree 110%.
I mean, the first episode, it was so hard-hitting. It was so real. It was so like, you know, it wasn't just, I mean, with all due respect to all the stories that we've told, that was a pretty radical one to start with, right? It's like, holy shit. And I think, again, that just set the tone moving forward of like, this is the kind of stories that we're going to tell. These are the kind of people that we're going to have on.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's varied, you know, you got people coming here with not crazy stories like that, but they have their experience in life regardless, but they've also everybody goes through their own shit. Like, you know, I get people saying like, telling me a little something about something they've been through. And they're like, it's nothing like what you've been through. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like that's my experience. Like your experience is your own. Like it's still affected you a certain way. So don't make that comparison. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, still everybody's stories hold value and they hold weight, and someone out there can relate to any of these stories. Right. So, and they've done some really cool shit. Everybody on here is doing rad shit, so it's super dope.
So I just, I guess my point in saying that is just
Steve hasn't even talked yet.
With that one being as good as it was, I'd really just think it set the tone for the whole podcast.
Yeah.
So
sorry, we're just making it all about ourselves.
Yeah. There we go.
Humorless, man. Humorless.
Dude, I love talking shit.
I do too.
I'm not name calling. Anyways, but yeah, so Steve.
Yes, sir.
What the fuck have you been up to, man? Tell us a little bit about what's going on. Let's talk about since last time you were here. Tell us what's happened in your life a little bit, and we'll touch on these things in time, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you also give a real quick 5-minute version of your stuff for people who didn't see the first episode?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely,
just
man.
real quick,
You got it, man. So in October of 2019, I was riding my motorcycle. A guy wasn't paying attention and hit me almost head on. I was going 45. He's going about 25, 30. I was hospitalized, had several surgeries. After about 7 months or so, I had complications, had an infection in my leg, and they told me if I saved my leg, I wouldn't be able to skateboard, snowboard, or run. I wouldn't have mobility, and it was also going to be pretty hard to grow back 7.5 inches at tibia. So I chose to have it amputated. The accident, definitely it was a wake up call. I was a pretty bad drug addict up until my accident was the last day I used. So it was a huge.
What drug was it?
Crystal meth, man.
Oof.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did we talk about that last time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a bad drug addict. I was going nowhere in life. I had my accident, and I remember waking I didn't lose consciousness at all. But after I woke up from the first surgery, it was that wake up call I needed, and it was my 1,000th second chance. But it's the one that I finally recognized and decided I wasn't going to waste it. And it's been awesome, man. When you're grateful and you're not. I didn't feel entitled anymore. So life has been so good. I've put a lot of I try and always be positive and put good out there and stuff, and it's been a lot of good has been coming back.
That's fucking amazing. And yeah, you've been crushing it since then.
Well, dude, that's the reason why I stopped on crystal meth is people don't get off that.
Yeah, I was yeah, it's a hard one to kick, that's for sure.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man, this is one thing, and addiction, man, it's I saw some fighter talking about it, and he was like, man, it's the hardest thing I've ever done was coming off of drugs, becoming sober, because it's harder than fucking fighting. It's harder than getting in the cage or whatever, because it really does take over your mind. I mean, maybe had you not had that accident, you still be 100%. Messing it up, but you had this fucking wake up call, and a lot of people don't have that. They just keep using, keep doing, and it's just this long-term thing. And I admire people that fucking come out of it. Real quick story. I had an old friend reach out to me last year sometime, and he was like, hey man, I'm in this Asheville or something like that. He's like, I need some gas money, that's at night. He was like, I need some gas money to get back. I'm hooked on drugs. I'm trying to fix my life. Part of me is just or you're just going to buy more dope. Mm-hmm. But I was like, at the end of the day, my intentions are to help him. He told me this, and I'm going to trust it. Mm-hmm. Whether or not he decides to go fix himself that's totally on him. My intentions were to help him. If he goes and buys more dope with that money, that's on him, because my intentions were to help him get gas money. So, fuel up so he can get home and fucking straighten his life out. Time goes by. I haven't heard anything from him. And I was just kind of damn, man, maybe he went down that loop. A couple months later, he's like, bro, I've been with the rehab. I've, done this and that. I'm sober. I talked to him last week. He's 8 months, awesome. 8 months sober now or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
when he got back, is that what he did? So he did.
Yeah. He straightened his life out. He hasn't used. He's not turning back, bro. It's hard, but not turning back. And I was like, awesome. Fuck yeah. And I was like, dude, that means a lot. And I'm going to send him a bunch of gear. I'm like, you know what? This is your relentless pursuit, man. I believe in you. I want to send you some shirts. Just that's the least I can, that's all I can really do, but just to support you, and you remember that, man. I've got your back, and I just think it's really cool that he made that change, and in some that's little awesome. Way, maybe I helped, and I check in on him and stuff like that, and it's just pretty fucking cool. So I don't know, I believed in him, and he followed through, you know? And so, I mean, but that's hard to do. It's hard to just cut it.
Do you think that's what ultimately was? I mean, you said it was kinda, but
it was an accident. And one thing that going through all that trauma and stuff kind of showed me was that like if I could help in any way someone, you know, like I don't know if like inspire them or kind of set an example. Like I would hope that it wouldn't take anyone what it took me to quit drugs. You know, like because now that I know, just living like taking care of responsibilities, just like pursuing things that I'm like passionate about, and it's so worth not doing drugs. So yeah, if I could show people that and they could see that, I would love for them to not have to experience going through a crazy traumatic accident to get off hard drugs, you know?
Yeah. Dude, I tell you what though, but that's sometimes, man, people are chosen, bro. Like I look at my accident and
I was about to say, that's literally almost verbatim what you say all the time is that like, again, going kind of to how Stevie brings out the soul of what we're doing here, right? It's like you talk about all the time specifically. You say, I want to get this message out so that people don't have to go through what I went through to learn these lessons.
Yeah, it's like fated though. Like it's like the gods know, or you know, whatever you believe in, that hey, this person, like it's sown in the stars, man. It's like fated that this person's going to go through this, and this is a test for them. But because the outcome of this is going to be so fucking positive that they're going to be a light to people that maybe are lost or, you know, trying, you know, whatever, or addicted to drugs. Like they're going to be able to share their story and impact them in a huge way because their experience is so fucking gnarly, you know, like they went through some tragic shit. And I'm like, you know, that's how you look at it, right? Like you feel that way.
Like on that too, one of the things that I've always thought, which is cool, like now is like for every action, there's like good and bad that comes out of it. You may not ever see the bad after something that's so good, but it's like when those like terrible things happen, I've learned to like try and find the good and appreciate the good and give it more value than the bad has. And like living my life that way, it's like helped me stay very positive. And, you know, like even in failure and stuff, you know, you're realizing like, well, I failed, you know, like I'm trying, you know, and I'm getting better. So, but yeah, there's always good, always bad. And in the one that the bad outweighs the good, you have to really give that the good value that's minute, you know?
Oh, I agree 100%. But that goes back, and I bring up the tattoo again, the more Fati one. I don't know if I've explained that one to you. And I brought it up on the podcast a few times, but it's relevant to what you're saying. And so I think you would really, maybe this would like re-gear that thinking slightly, because you look at the bad as good, right? Or like the good stuff from it. But it means the love of one's fate. So it's the idea of looking at everything as either good or necessary, but there's no bad. So the stuff that...
And things that are necessary, that means it is good.
Yeah, so you got good things happen to you or necessary things. So like all these bad things are actually just necessary for your growth if you just re-gear your mindset. I mean, and like you, obviously your mindset's great with it, but you probably think it that way too. Like, oh, those things are just necessary for who I am today. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's fucking rad. Yeah. Like, but that can change your whole life if you think that, you know?
Yeah. When you think that way, you're like, so my girlfriend I had not read in forever, and I started seeing a really amazing one, but I read The Alchemist. It's the first book I've read in forever, and it kind of talks like how I
wrote it down.
I know. It's so cool how like in that book, they really talk about you're learning from everything, every person, every environment. You can learn from everything, you know? So like every experience, it's like an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yep.
So
it truly is. I mean, I think about, you know, being here and like, man, it's a struggle sometimes, you know, it's just like, it's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of money. It's all those things lumped into one. And like, at one point, especially like several months ago, I was just getting really stressed out. I mean, Logan saw me just kind of like, you know, but at the end of the day, like you step back and you see all the fucking really cool things that are happening. Like we look at the algorithm, you know, the analytics for the podcast, or like, you know, the space built out, and now Jesse's here, and like, you know, all these different things, and picking more clients and this and that and the other. And I look at that and I'm just like, yeah, I still got all that weight, but I've just kind of like re-geared my mindset to be like, yo, this is necessary. Like it's, at times it kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, like I need to go through this. This is teaching me so much more, and I'm going to appreciate it so much more when this is a fucking, you know, 7-figure business, you know, and we're crushing it. So I think, you know, 9-figure, or let's go for 9. You know what I'm saying though? But no, like really, you know, once we're there, it's just going to be, man, I'm really going to look back at the struggle and be like, fuck yeah, dude. Like I fucking stuck with it and went balls to the wall and like didn't give up and believed in it, man. That's really what you got to do. But
I think to your big point too, I think you find what you look for. Right. So like if you're just walking, and I think that's a big problem with people right now, just generally speaking, is like people are looking for bad shit. They're looking for reasons to be upset. They're looking for, you know, we talk about people who comment dumb shit on our YouTube, and it's like, I said this to you guys earlier, but we got a stupid comment on YouTube the other day, and basically I shared it with my fiance, who's my fiance now, by the way. That's another
Congratulations,
new thing.
hey.
But anyway, she just said why, like why would they even? And it's like, bro, because people are just looking for shit. You know, they're just looking for ways to. You know, they're anonymous behind a thing and they can say some shit real quick, but they're looking for negativity. They're looking for that.
Yeah. And the more you look for it, the more it happens.
You will find it.
Yeah.
And then people say, well, don't you see all this stuff? And I'm like, well, you see it because that's what you search for.
Right? When you're looking for the good, it's, you know, when you're looking for good, it's a lot easier to find than when you're looking for bad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but people, I mean, but it, you know, it's easy because like the negative is always thrown in our face. Like that's all that's thrown in our face from like so many outlets. So it's just like, how do you put the fucking blinders on, you know? You just like, you know, with me, I get a little fucking worked up. I'll be watching something, you know, I follow like, you know, I get news from like Telegram and shit, like stuff that's like real stuff, you know, that Fox isn't putting out there. With like sources and shit. But anyways, and I'm just like, fuck, dude, like this world's fucked. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I try to be like, whoa, like
that's because that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, but that's what I'm looking at. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of good in it. There's a lot of beauty in it. There's a lot of amazing people. Like there's so much good, and I think it truly does outweigh that shit.
And you'd be shocked if that's what you're looking for, that how much of it you'll find.
Yeah.
You know?
It all depends on where your focus is at, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
What are you looking for, you know?
Yeah. So by the way, we're at 30.
Damn. Fuck.
Damn. I gotta pee.
Yeah, me too.
I went by fast as shit.
I know. Now we get into what he's into. This episode is brought to you by Relentless Pursuit. Definitely help us out. Go check out our website at www.relentlesspursuitlifestyle.com. Go snag some apparel. We got some killer gear out there. T-shirts, ladies' clothes, all kinds of athleisure, jiu-jitsu gear. Also, check us out on Instagram at relentless_pursuit, and check us out also for the headquarters at relentless_HQ. Another thing I want to emphasize is sponsorship. So we definitely are looking for sponsors for the podcast. If you're interested, hit us up. This is a great opportunity to get your business out there on a podcast that is growing tremendously fast. We're crushing it. And also stay tuned for the Patreon that we'll be putting up. Basically, it's going to be a subscription to the podcast. We'll be releasing extra episodes for members, discount codes, some free apparel codes, stuff like that, you know, and other valuable things that'll really be worth the investment. So definitely check those things out, and we appreciate the support.
Also, all right, so Stephen Crawford here. Just want to give a huge thank you to Extremity for like funding this trip, like get my plane ticket down here and the opportunity to work at this Academy prosthetic convention this week, and also flying me down early so I get to hang out with Joe and Logan and film a podcast and just hang out in the RP headquarters. Another thing, check out So Kids Can Move. It's a nonprofit, and it's an advocacy for, they're getting legislation passed to where they will make insurance companies have to cover kids from up until 26 with sports prosthetics so they can play sports and be kids, you know, because right now there's a lot of insurance unfairness, I guess you'd say, because they think it's a luxury to be able to run. So super stoked to get some kids and then eventually, hopefully, all amputees access to some sport prosthetics so they can live an active lifestyle.
Where can they check that out?
Dope. Hell yeah. Check it out.
Where?
I think they're just starting up their Instagram. I'll find out, but I have some other like literature and stuff I can share with you guys and get it out there.
Cool.
This episode is brought to you by Elite Medical Aesthetics. Elite Medical Aesthetics has a primary focus on men's health, such as hormone replacement, performance optimization, and stuff like that. Sean offers services such as rejuvenation and PRP, which I've gotten. It's something where they spin the blood up and they re-inject it back into you. Long story short, it speeds up recovery in specific areas. It's helped my knee a ton and helped my recovery. Some other services he offers is Botox, laser hair removal, and scar treatment. And I do want to mention that soon he will be offering stem cell injections, which is awesome and something I want to be able to do one of these days with all my injuries. That being said, you can find more of a full range of services on the website, and that will be at eliteaestheticstn.com. Or check them out and on IG at Elite Aesthetics TN. Thank you.
Since you just like advertise the nonprofit that you're a part of, tell us about that a little bit.
So Kids Can Move is a nonprofit. Legislation, the first state that's actually approved it, and I'm not sure if it's just for up till 26 years old, which is like normally when you're off your parents' insurance, or if it's all ages, but they got the legislation passed where they like insurance companies have to provide kids and give them access to sports prosthetics, because if they don't cover it, it's nearly impossible to get unless you get a grant. Or there's a new company that I'm sponsored by, Levitate. They're actually making like affordable direct to consumer running blades, kind of disrupting the market. But it's like great for end users and for people to have access to it. But so Kids Can Move though is
if you come in here disrupting the market, you're doing something right.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just saying, but yeah.
So so Kids Can Move. I'm working on it in Colorado. I know they're in New Mexico. They're doing it for all ages, and there's like several other states. But I'm going to be, like trying to get some, raise some money. Also, just get some attention for that, because a lot of people don't realize that, that like kids that are amputees or deal with limb indifference, unless they get a grant. They can't do regular kid shit, Yeah. They can't play sport. I mean, it's really important to have one of those for a kid. So I'm just super stoked to be able to be part of something and make like a positive change or something that I'm like passionate about,
That's awesome, dude. That's really cool, man. Just being a part of something that like really helps people out. You know what I'm saying? Helping these kids out, helping them fucking be able to get after life like they should be, man. Like, if they can't afford this or the insurance is screwing them, they're going to miss out on a lot in their childhood, because they still want to pursue sports and like do all the shit all the other kids are doing. So you're like leading the charge is something really cool, man.
I was about to say,
I think that's awesome.
So like for obvious reasons you want to do this, but kind of explore that a little bit. Whatever you think about like the impact it can make, why you want to do that.
Yeah.
Thinking about like people that even, maybe there's kids right now, somebody watching right now that's inspired by you. What does that feel like? What does that mean to you?
It's pretty awesome. Like, I definitely cause I've hung out with quite a few, like, I go to a lot of mobility clinics with a lot of other people that have had amputations or like it's congenital. They were born like without a leg and stuff like that. But it's so cool. Like seeing even like for me, myself, like when I got, I use a BioAdapt VersaFoot 2, this crazy foot I use for snowboarding. But, the first time I snowboarded as an amputee was like so emotional. It was amazing just being able to do something like the one thing that I wanted to do, the reason I got my leg amputated. So it's going to be really cool for these kids, like having access to that. And eventually, hopefully everyone, I know we're starting with kids because it's an easy ask, but hopefully we're going to make it to where like anyone with limb indifference is going to have access to this and be able to live like an active lifestyle is the goal,
The kids angle is good because you just go to the insurance companies. You're like, you don't want kids to enjoy their life. Like, who the fuck are you? And the insurance is like, God damn, all right, like, all right, deal. Like, you got it, And then you get to the adults.
So it's interesting what you just said too, because you said like it was like an emotional experience whenever you snowboarded, right? And then you were talking about running before, but it's funny because like you chose to have your leg amputated so that you could do these things.
Yeah.
And the insurance company treats it like it's a luxury, like you said.
Yeah.
It's it's like
pretty fucked.
It's pretty needed. You know what I mean? So kind of touch on that, I guess.
Yeah. So insurance companies, the way it works is they don't, they're not required to get you sports prosthetics because you don't need to be able to run to do your job. It's like a luxury that, if you want to be able to run and do like live an active, there's like some of the prosthetics they give you can like jog on and stuff like that. But I mean, legs are pretty specific for activities. Like I have my running blade, I have a snowboarding foot, and then I have like I've been like very fortunate and got to test a lot of stuff and do some R&D with different companies. So I have like quite a few different feet. Most people have one foot and they have one socket and they have two liners at a time. So
did you go to Steve's house? And you know how you go to someone's house and they're like, open their closet and they got like 40 pairs of Jordans. And they're like, check this shit out. You go to Steve's closet and it's just like all these fucking legs.
He's got legs and feet.
And it's like, well, I can't buy those off of you because I can't wear them, but that's dope. That's
crazy.
Like,
that's crazy.
I have a collection of left feet. Like,
he's on MTV Cribs. He's just like, yo, check out my
And then
legs.
right here we have.
I remember we had a little party at my house. My buddy was just like, I had my door open, and like right when you go, like you look in my room and you can see across, and there's like, I think like 5 feet there. And he's like, dude, this is some like Jeffrey Dahmer shit right here, man.
That's awesome.
But yeah, very, very excited, man. It's going to be cool. I was talking to one of my buddies, Nick, and he's kind of a little bummed that it was for like kids only, which I kind of understand, you know, but like, I understand also that it's like, you have to start somewhere, you know, like, and like the easy ask is going to be good and kind of set the tone, especially since it's like in so many different states, this nonprofit's like getting things started. And Nicole's doing an incredible job at like recruiting good people that are passionate about it and want to bring change to the way the insurance companies work. And it's, you know, by going through legislation and like making it a law to where they have to, you know?
Yeah, I think it's great though. I mean, you know, of course, insurance companies are like any other corporation, right? They want to make money.
Yep.
So there's that aspect too. They're like, oh man, we're gonna pay out for more. But it's like, dude, you already fucking make so much business. Like, it's not that huge of an ask, but then they treat it like it is. But you're helping people, man, and that's the fucking point. Like, that's what we need to do.
Could also be saving, because if you think like when you have access to these like sport prosthetics and stuff like that, and you're able to live a healthier life, you know, it could
100%
save insurance companies a lot of money in the long run. You
business,
know?
yeah, even for their business model,
especially with companies like Levitate, the company that sponsors me. You know, like I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be like, I don't know how it's all going to work, you know, but like they're selling these like affordable blades and stuff like that. And yeah, it's going to be really cool, man. I think it'll save them money in the long run, and it's going to, you know, like just more inclusivity, and like people are going to be able to do the things that they love doing, they're passionate about, and live happier, healthy lives, you know?
Dude, I think that's excellent.
It also makes me think too, like whenever you're talking about like you have the different feet and like it's very specific for legs for different activities and stuff, it kind of makes me like grateful for my regular legs, like the fact that they can do all that shit.
It's a little all for one, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they can hop on a snowboard, or they can go run, or they can whatever. It's like, damn, you know, you don't really think about that until you have to swap it out for depending on the activity and stuff in that way. You know, it's interesting.
It's yeah. And like I said, you know, most like insurance isn't like great for people with I've been like super fortunate with like just testing stuff out and working with these different companies. But like I said, most people have one leg and one socket, and they only get like a new foot every, like, I think like 2 or 3 years. And it's, yeah, like insurance coverage for most people with like any kind of prosthetic hand, like feet and whatever, it's not good unless you're like through the VA, or in like Colorado, if you're on Medicaid, they take care of it. But like 9 times out of 10, like every amputee I talk to has like the hardest time getting what they need. Like the liners we wear underneath our prosthetic, which I'll pull it up so you can see this part right here. You get like 2 of those every.
Do that for me one more time.
Right on. Boom. Yeah. So that's the liner that is like the interface between my residual limb and the prosthetic socket. And I'm an active person, and I mean, I'm so active. I walk so much. I'm getting so many steps in a day, like bartending, you know, on a shift that they wear through pretty fast. And I go through way faster than 2 every 6 months. So it's going to be really cool. And like insurance catches up to like the lifestyle that
real life.
It's still based on like the old, I would imagine it's kind of based on like the needs for amputees back in the day, where like I don't know how long ago it was, but they were using wooden block prosthetic feet up until they started using carbon feet, like not that long ago.
Yeah, that seems like a no-go.
So I feel like the insurance companies need to catch up with where like the prosthetics and like the activity level that we're able to do now with like this new technology and like all these badass prosthetic products they have now.
That's so cool, man. This is something like I really am not educated in all this. Like a lot of people aren't aware of this. Yeah. You know, so it's pretty cool that you're able to kind of raise the awareness of that, and hopefully get some good support on, you know, with that nonprofit as well. So that's dope.
That's pretty fascinating stuff, honestly.
Very excited. Very excited.
Fuck yeah, dude. And like my boy Steve over here just going through legs and feet like crazy.
Just going through legs and feet.
Just cycling through. My legs, man, they hurt all the time. So kind of wish I had like some No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, you're so kind of wish you watch your next couple words there, brother.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to wish anything like that. I'm glad I got them. But yeah, they just, know my shit. But
Yeah.
hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Another thing you want to touch on too was like, you sent me a couple things. So what do you mean you're talking about setting realistic goals?
I think really one of the things I was thinking of is just like, I like setting goals and like, short, medium, long is a good way I've like kind of thought of things and have been approaching things here recently. And it's nice. Instead of like a lot of people set this like huge goal, boom. So you set this huge goal that's like a long-term goal, and it takes fucking forever. You should not that you shouldn't do that, but I like to set a lot of short-term goals that are like kind of like progress markers.
Of course.
Building up to that, and like, midterm goals and stuff like that. But instead of just setting long-term goals here recently, I've been trying to appreciate more like the small wins, like the small little bit of progress you're making, because like, even if it's small progress, like we were talking last night, you're like still moving in the right direction, whether it's walking and running, like sometimes you're going to walk, sometimes you're going to run, but like, I've just tried to be a lot more thankful and like pay a lot more attention to those like small victories you have way more often.
Be grateful for them because they're still victories.
Mm-hmm. And those carry you to the long-term goal and keep your like motivation up. They keep,
Yes.
Yeah, they're like little side quests for all you RPG gamers out there.
Yeah.
I love that. Dude, so I was gonna bring this up earlier, so it's interesting that you brought it up. So you were talking earlier about how like sometimes you get overwhelmed with things, but then you notice, basically what we're talking about here is like small wins, right? And like I'll text you the analytics and stuff, like because I know how you're feeling sometimes. And what I was gonna say earlier is that I used to be. I mean, I'm really bad about beating myself up as well. Like I know you relate on that, and but like my mom used to basically get really frustrated with me because like as a young adult, like after like in that time period, but because like I just would get so down about shit and like good things would happen, but it would just like go over my head, and it's because of like whatever it was that I was really wanting at that time wasn't happening, in like a big way, right? Yep. So like you were talking about the brand and like, how certain things, help you through that. And that's the other thing you brought up, which is important, is that like now I'm not like that anymore. And I'm proud of that. Like to where like at the time I was like, I don't give a fuck about these moral victories, right? Like these little small victories, like whatever, like I need money, I need whatever. Yeah. And it's like, but really that's where, first of all, a lot of the sweetest victories are those victories that you can't really grab onto, what I mean? And like, so for example, he, like you said, I was aware that he was kind of struggling for a little bit of a period, a couple weeks, beginning of the year. And, there was this guy who came up to me at the gym that I used to play football with. And if you're listening, what's up, Brady? But he came up to me at the gym and big burly guy, like played lineman in high school, like just not the kind of guy from what I'm about to say. But we talk about vulnerability all the time and like men's mental health and like how it's important to open up and just like all this shit that a lot of people don't talk about, particularly men. And we stress that like, we're talking about this because this isn't talked about enough and blah, blah, blah. So this guy comes up to me and I haven't seen him in years. And like within 2 sentences, he's talking about how he watches the podcast all the time. He tells me about how he broke up with him and his girl broke up and he's been in this like really bad, just been in a deep like shit basically. But then he got back in the gym and like just like starts opening up to me. And I'm blessed that does happen to me a lot for some reason. I think I like let people's guard down, but I texted Joe immediately after that because I knew how he'd been feeling. And I was like, hey, I know it's not fucking, we got a lot of stuff to do here where we got a lot, long ways to go, but listen to this, and the fact that this guy would just feel the need to come up and say that to me while also talking about the podcast, it was clear there was a correlation there. Right. And so that wasn't like a fucking $10,000 check.
But the impact, man, like making an impact that's
the thing.
It's huge, bro.
Exactly. But that's the focus, right? And that's what's most important. Like I was talking last night about like all these things that are going to bring, that we're working on that can bring some good financial gain.
Just real quick, so to your point, that was fuel in my mind. I was like, Joe's running low on fuel. And sometimes I'm the same way and he sent it back to me. Like I've texted you a couple of times, same way, like I'm feeling this type of way. Yeah. And you bring it back to me, which is why support's so important.
Things like that fire me the fuck up.
Yeah. But like I texted him that because I know like that's fuel, right? Like that's right now you're feeling like you're low on gas. Oh, yeah. But let me fill you up a little bit with this, right? And to your point, that impact is just,
And that's what it's all about. I was talking last night on the way, like all these things that like, can bring some good financial gain and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like that's not what's most important. Like that's great, and it makes it makes, by gaining that, it makes doing.
Well, you can make more of a difference with more.
Yeah, it makes us, it gets a lot off your plate and helps you focus more. But like at the end of the day, like that's not the main point. Like if we just stay focused on what we're doing and like the goal and like bringing light to people and making an impact, like that's going to come, you know, and I know that. But it's easy to get caught up in all that too. But speaking of Brady, he actually came out here.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he came out this Saturday, but the past Saturday. So a couple weekends ago, and we sat there and talked for a couple hours, man.
Dude, the other thing he said, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing he said was that
he's going to go to Moot with me and the boys.
That's fucking awesome. That's awesome. So that was the other thing he wanted to talk to him about the tribe. But he also said, like, he was like, I need men like you got, I need men like that in my life. I don't have anybody in my life like that. And I was just blown away.
Yeah,
you know?
like he's got his boys, but he's like, man, I need that like tribal like shit.
Yeah.
Like he's felt that calling, and I was like, hell yeah.
Right.
And he also said he was wanting to reach out to me, and he said to me, he just like, but he knows how busy I am. He just was waiting for a sign, and then he saw you at the gym, and he's like, that was the sign.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh, that's fucking dope, dude.
It gives me chills, bro.
Yeah, super
awesome.
cool, super cool, man. So
that's
we're making waves, man.
Yeah,
We're making
100%.
waves.
100%.
I love it, dude.
100%. So, sorry, what I was tying that into was you were talking about the small wins, right?
Yes.
So, like, that was something that was like, again, not a check, but like, hey, this is a good, like, let's put that into the belt, right? Feather in your cap type thing. And I was actually going to ask you about that because especially like both of you have been through traumatic things where you had to start very low, right? Like you walking, fucking not being septic or whatever, like just very small wins to obviously get to where you're both sitting here as healthy individuals. But like Jordan Peterson talks about this, and I think there's a lot of people that need to hear this, and there's a family member of mine that I'm thinking about in particular, but he's so like overwhelmed. There's just so much shit. Like he doesn't even know where to start, right? And the way Jordan Peterson says it is, there's something that you could do, that you would do, that would improve your life. So start there. So that you could do, that is attainable, right? Like maybe you can't, fix all your legal problems, like in this specific case, overnight. But what you can do is not drink today.
And that's kind of what I was saying. Realistic goals is like those, like
Yes.
they're very not. I shouldn't say realistic because
Attainable.
Attainable, like
yeah.
you gotta like like if you set these small goals and you just like appreciate those like small wins and stuff, you're gonna like have more confidence in yourself to like go after those bigger goals, aspirations, dreams.
100%. And so like a big thing that Peterson talks about is cleaning your room, right? Making your bed, make sure that your house is in order before you criticize the world. Right. So, but I love that phrase. There's something that you could do that you would do. And the would do is the most important thing, right? Because maybe you're not willing to go out and run a mile, and maybe you can't run a mile if you're trying to do fitness, but you can, and you would, right? Because you have to be willing and able to change. So like, if you feel like it's this huge giant thing, maybe you could, but you don't believe in yourself, so you won't. So like making your bed, everybody can make their bed, right? So that's something that you could do, that you would do, that would improve your life. So start there. Right. And so that goes back to the small things. I guess I kind of wanted you to elaborate on that from from both your perspectives of having to, those small wins is probably all you had to go on for a while, both of you, right?
Yep.
Small win, like at first, it was just like, okay, like I'm not septic anymore. Like, I'm like, cool. This like, MSSA's, gone, like, boom, like, and it's weird. Like I like in the healing process for me, I like would go up, go back. And then obviously like had to get my leg amputated. But for me, that was like, cool, I can start healing now. Like that was, the infection's gone, and like I did my round of antibiotics, and then after that it was, got a bicycle like 12, 13 days after I got my first prosthetic, and I could ride a bike way better than I could run.
Yeah.
So it started off, like a mile. The first day I like had it, and it hurt like hell. It was super tender, but I did a mile. But then before I knew it, like within a month I was riding, I don't even know, like 15, 20 miles at a time, and I was riding like 4 or 5 days a week.
Let me get this real quick. Sorry.
So yeah, small victories.
Small victories, man.
I'd definitely like you guys to keep talking on that a little bit too, because for one thing, like, one audience that we should consider too, like I was saying before, like you're on here, right? Like whenever I do dialogue videos, story videos for people, so if I was to like do your story video, what I would tell you is focus on the people that are in your shoes, like the people that were in the hospital dealing with it right now, and they think that they have nowhere to go. Yeah. And that's like the place that I want you to tell your story from, right? So like, we're obviously not doing that, but it does bring to mind, like for both of you, maybe it doesn't have, like you said earlier, it doesn't have to be a physical struggle, but I think that there's definitely people within our voice that could learn from you two when it comes to taking those small steps.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, so, you know, I always like to go really aggressive with my steps. And so, you know, sometimes I set myself back, you know, because I don't like to be I don't like fucking any limitations. I like to just be like, all right, I'm capable, whatever the fuck I want to be capable of, you know. So I have injuries in my legs, right? And I'm just like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to do 12 sets of squats, heavy as fuck, and this and this and this. And then my knee fucking hurts and it's popping. I'm like, I know I shouldn't be pushing it this hard, but I'm going to do it anyways. Or like,
just what you said on that book's like, you'll love it. I love reading now.
wait, you giving me this to read?
Yeah, you'll love it, dude. And it goes on that, like, always like wanting the best out of yourself. Yeah, I like literally read it. And my friend D and that I work with at the bar gave that to me, and I like read it before my flight even took off. I was stoked,
dude. Okay, I'm gonna
hold
definitely check
hold
that
that
out.
up real quick in case anybody wants to. What's it called?
Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and it's a very cool,
interesting
story. Just like you have to read it. I don't want to ruin it, but about like always, you know, pushing yourself towards the best version of yourself.
Yeah, and I definitely celebrate the small victories, and like, you know, one thing I've learned though is like just to kind of, you know, with the injuries, right? Like, hey, take it easy. It's like my knee was a little fucked up, doing some boxing training and stuff, and then, you know, this bare knuckle fight was coming up, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna fucking do it, you know, knowing damn well that like something was gonna happen to my knee. You know, of course I go do it anyways and blow my knee out and have to get surgery, and it sets you back, right? But hell, I mean, that was a victory in itself. I still got out there and won the thing and whatnot, and I recovered. But yeah, man, I'm big on like setting victories, and you know, one of the easiest translations for that too is the gym. Yeah, weightlifting, right? Because you can calculate. You know, you get someone that's coming into the gym, you know, they've never trained before, and they see some dude, or like they saw a video, and they're like, I want to bench 400 pounds, right? It takes a long fucking time to do that. You know, like it takes a lot of time and a lot of work to do that. So, you know, instead of focusing on the 400 pounds, work on getting, you know, 185 pounds, then 225 pounds, and so on and so forth. And, you know, that was one thing that was really a cool marker for me when I was recovering from my accident, was just like, all right, this is my goal next. This is my goal next. All right, I want to be able to like just squat with a bar on my back, because like my legs are so jacked up. Like I just want to be able to do that for a couple of reps. Okay, now we're going to start adding weight and stuff like that. But it was just really, it fired me up, man. I was setting those small goals just week by week, but I was constantly progressing, man. And it just fires you up, you know? So, and you know, it's not always going to come fast. You know, I want things to happen quickly, you know, because I'm very aggressive with that. But it doesn't happen. You get disappointed, but then it's like we talked about, just stepping back and reflecting on the victories, right? Like Logan knows me. He knows I'm very like, I see my vision's way out there. Like I'm in this space, but I'm imagining like 100,000 square foot facility down the road. And like, I'm like, dude, that's the fucking goal. Now, like that's not going to be the next move. I know we're going to go to 10,000 square feet, right? And then so on and so forth. And, you know, but I'm very like, sometimes I get stuck on that vision, and then I have someone like Logan send me the analytics, or, you know, someone just say something nice, like, man, you're really crushing. I'm really proud of you, or something like that. And I need reminders like that too. So I'm really good about setting the small step goals, but also sometimes I lose sight of those, and I'm just like, I want that shit.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night. Like, you know, like we talked about it earlier, like the growth. I was like, damn, dude, like it's crazy in like the 7-8 months since I've been here.
Yep, August 1st. So August 14th or August 7th would have been your episode.
It was right before the grand opening.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, it's crazy to see the growth, man. Like it's,
and I think to your point too, that's why I said in the very beginning, I was like, Steve is a great person. Like I'm like talking to you through Steve, because I'm like, well, listen to what he's saying, because he hasn't been here in 7 months.
Yeah,
so when he says it, he has an even better perspective on it, because he hasn't. Yeah, because he's here for the first time in 7 months. So
yeah, it's fucking cool.
It's sick, man.
I do appreciate your words. It definitely makes me like, oh, okay.
Absolutely,
good. I feel good. I need that sometimes, man. I do, because I am like my own worst enemy a lot of times. So, you know, but it's just, you learn it. And at the end of the day, like I'm aware of this.
Well, and I own a business too, bro. And there's days where I feel like this is a fucking disaster. This is stupid. What am I doing? So whenever I see you feel that, I mean, I can empathize with that. And so I know kind of the buttons to press a little bit, because I know how it feels, you know? So
do you have any things you struggle with as far as the little steps?
Little steps. I've gotten a lot better. I mean, I'm not always, you know, going to struggle with things, but
I think a good question for you is like, have you always been this way?
No.
With your mindset?
No, I have not. And even so after my accident, like I was very positive and stuff after my accident and stuff. And I was setting these goals. Now I have like my long-term goal, like my personal legend I like want to do, which is like the Paralympics and stuff. And it was like kind of like by luck, I had got to ride with some like really rad, like Paralympic riders and met some cool people. And it kind of like thankfully I met them and stuff. Cause it like really was a wake up call, made me realize that like my long-term goal is like very realistic for Paralympics and stuff. And that's when I just like made up my mind, like this is my relentless pursuit. My personal legend is like getting to the Paralympics and bringing some medal home for the US, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
What are you,
You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it.
Snowboarding?
I've done a few bank slalom races. I actually have one on March 11th up at Steamboat Springs. And then I think I'm going to do another one in Winter Park this season. But next year is like I was telling Joe, this, as soon as I get done with those races, it's going to be buckling down and like picking up as many, cause like it's pretty much, I was like ill prepared financially for this season to go and do all the Paralympic qualifiers. But, just like, it's cool that I have like that long-term goal because it's like helping me like I'm setting all these short-term goals and all these other things that are like, are necessary to get there, you know? So it's going to be a pretty cool journey. I'm pretty excited.
This episode is brought to you by the Music City Fit Expo. This is the largest fitness expo in the South, all held within 70,000 square feet at the Nashville Fairgrounds. There will be more than 150 fitness vendors ranging from apparel, gyms, supplements, and more. This is going to be at the Nashville Fairgrounds May 13th. Come out, watch tons of fitness events, meet 4 times Mr. Olympia Jay Cutler, support vendors, and meet tons of amazing people within the fitness industry here in Middle Tennessee. All of this and more May 13th at the Nashville Fairgrounds. For more information, get your tickets and head over to musiccityfitexpo.com or find these guys on Instagram at Music City Fit Expo. Thank you.
Like, so next season, like that's like one of the, I'm like saving up all this money for, I just got to start grinding, saving up as much money as I can so I can spend it all next winter cause I like, before you get, hopefully like getting to these races, getting on the podium and stuff, getting some accolades before I hopefully, or next season I'll get my invite for the U.S. Paralympic snowboard team, hopefully, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that's the goal. And once you do that, then financially they cover your like training.
You're talking about sponsorships. Like, right?
I'm just like, I don't want to, cause like some people at the bar I work at and stuff like do a GoFundMe or whatever. Like I have no doubt that, you know, those things are successful, but if I'm going to raise money, I'd rather do it for like a nonprofit organization or to help, you know, I don't want to be the guy like,
but couldn't you isn't sponsoring a big thing in skating and stuff? Like where skaters are sponsored?
It is.
Like,
and
individually?
And Extremity sponsored me, but there's like, when it gets to that level, a lot of that stuff, I mean, it's just so exorbitantly expensive for each, like, I mean, I think like just being on a race team's like, I don't know for sure. I know some that's like $4,000 to like $7,000 for some of these race teams. And then like, you have to get like your own custom made snowboard. And there's like race boards are like $1,000 to $2,000, you know, like, so, but, I'm super stoked, man.
It adds up.
Yeah.
It certainly does.
So I have a lot of little, small, goals and you know, like short term, midterm, getting to that point. So
that's what I was going to say is I think that everything that we're talking about with the small goals, that kind of the theme that we're hitting on, it really touches on like the process, right?
Yeah.
Like
that's what we were talking about last night about how like I've learned to love the process.
Right.
Like it's really cool now. Like, and like kind of having that like, inflection that I'm like, damn, like I appreciate the process now. And it's like, it's so much more enjoyable now when you realize like, you know, like, being patient and enjoying the process. Cause you know, like, you know, I'm doing this and it's like, obviously I'm not like there now, but this is all getting me from point A to point B. So
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't set very good goals like that. Like I like right now in my notebook, I have a bunch of shit and it's even laid out by quarter. Like it's set, it's there, but I just find that I don't do very good at checking back on them and like that kind of thing. But I was even just now thinking about it. I'm like, that does make sense that would help you appreciate the process so much more because you're getting wins as you go versus just setting some fucking thing way over there and you're making a lot of progress over here, right? Like if we didn't give a flying fuck about anything except for 1,000 subscribers, right? Then we wouldn't care about 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. It wouldn't even do anything for us. It wouldn't fuel you at all, right? So you have to put value on those smaller things that you're going to hit along the way because that's what gives you, you know, keeps you going. If you just
giving them value, that's like a great way to put it is giving in like, appreciating, finding the love and the joy you get from by valuing that and appreciating it. It's like amazing.
Yeah, dude.
So the question that I had for you a minute ago was you said you've not always been like this.
No, I've always been like a pretty optimistic person, like always pretty jolly and stuff, you know, but I was good about like putting it out there and stuff and giving it to other people instead of now I'm actually able to like, I have that like found that inner joy and just joy in life now that it's took me my accident and 30 years of living on this earth to find that. But
yeah, I feel you. I've always, and like maybe it's similar, but I've always been a dreamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've always like, man, like I want to do this one day and that, and like, you know, but you know, most of the time these things never went to action. Like I definitely would be action oriented in a lot of things, but some of these things just seem so big and ambitious. I'm like, well, you know, that's crazy. And then, you know, I get hit by a fucking car and I'm like, dude, the world's mine. Like, I'm going to take it all. You know, I'm going to go after all the shit I've said I'm going to do. And then when I say it, people are going to see it through. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when I was in college, you know, after my accident, I was telling some people there at school, like, hey, I'm going to start a brand. Like I'm doing this. I started selling some shirts and shit in class. And then, you know, this dude messaged me like several months ago and he's like, bro, you did exactly what you said you were going to do. Yeah. Like that's fucking badass, man. Like you said you were going to do this and you've done it and like, you've got all my support. He like moved to Oregon. He ordered some, you know, apparel and stuff. And I was like, man, that's sweet. And, you know, I'm a big, like I said, it's hard for me to keep track of the little steps because my vision's so big. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a sign thing too. I'm an Aries, so I'm very just like head down and just forward. And so I kind of have blinders on, right? So I just try to I'm just like, boom, that's where I'm going. And then, so I kind of need, like, I'm a big words of affirmation person too, though. Mm-hmm. So like, it means the world when someone chimes in, like he texts me some analytics or you tell me what you did in the car or in the truck or whatever. And, you know, that's when I kind of like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Like, it's like my little wake up call. And that's when I acknowledge those smaller victories too. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard for me to see that sometimes because the blinders are always on.
So you just answered, like, that's like literally put it into words like more perfectly than I could. I was like, damn, like, yep.
But you see what I'm saying?
100%. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's really interesting that like, so the short answer is your accident was a big turning point for you. I mean, you said you were always kind of like that, but like, as far as this,
but taking action, I guess I was always very, like, I mean, it's
taking action.
Crazy how, like taking action and stuff. And it took me, I was always like had a lot of joy, spread a lot of love, you know, and good vibes and stuff. But like on all this stuff about like going after things and actually like accomplishing them, like and like staying hungry and like not, you know, like stuff before like my accident stuff, maybe like, man, that's like a lot of work or that's like really hard. And I just didn't do it. I mean, you know, like, so the accident was definitely that turning point when I was like, dude, like there's things I want to do. I'm going to do them. Like it's crazy. Before I had my leg amputated, the like one appointment I had with my orthopedic surgeon that did the amputation, I was like, dude, I'm going to go to the Paralympics. Like I'm getting my leg amputated, I'm going to be a Paralympic athlete for snowboarding. And it's been really cool. Like he works out of the same gym I do. He's like the coolest dude, man. I see him all the time and it's been really cool for him to see the progress, me to see the progress. And I got those like words of affirmation from him. Like, dude, like you said you were going to do all this stuff and like, you're doing all of it. And I'm like,
it's like that orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah.
You said?
That's awesome. So it's been really cool. And it's like, since the accident, it's like what lit that fire. And it's like the first time in my life I've ever actually like set some pretty ambitious goals and like, just, you know, I'm not going to give up no matter what, you know, like, and just, I'm always working towards them. So it's been really awesome. And like, when you're orthos are like, I love that too. And I'm like getting to hang out with a dude that like cut off my leg and like took care of me and healed my body. And he's like, dude,
that's wild.
You're doing good. You know, I was like, fuck yeah, man.
And it's all you, bro. It's all you, man. You're fucking, I love it, man. That's awesome. And like I said, those reminders from people means a lot, dude.
Dude, it's like too, I've had like a great support system through like family, friends. And it definitely does make it like, there's people out there that do that with absolutely, you know, like, but it's definitely helpful when you have a good support system. Guys like you, Logan, like all these people in my life that are like, you do that little bit of progress and you get those, like, they're like, dang, you're doing good. And then you're like, dude, I want to like, I can't let these people down. Right. Like, you know, like,
oh yeah. Yeah. That's a big thing too. Cause I hate letting anybody down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like to not deliver. Cause then it weighs on me. You know, I'm like, dude, they're fucking thinking about how I did not do this. Half the time they probably done forgot, but me, I'm like, nah, dude, I'm so fucking, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking loser. I got to make this shit happen, But yeah, there's that pride aspect too.
And accountability, like that's like self accountability, which is an amazing quality that is not very common anymore. You know,
but you had that pride of yourself to like, no, I can't let these motherfuckers down. Like I'm the same way, dude. It's pretty crazy, and especially when people invest so much support and energy into like you and like just like, I mean, I think about my family and my woman and stuff. It's like I can't let them down. Like they've seen me go through all this shit and bust my balls, to make things happen. And like, it's not all about you. There's all these other people included as well, and like, I can't, there's going to be failures, but I'm not going to fucking fail.
Right.
So
it's impossible to defeat a man who refuses to give up. That's one of my favorite quotes.
One thing I love.
You just keep going, bro. You can't be beat. You just keep going. Keep going.
One thing I love, there's that, he's an AK amputee, above the knee amputee. He's a Green Beret warrant officer. His name's Nick Lavery. Dude's done like 4 or 5 deployments as an above the knee amputee. And he's like chief warrant officer, Green Beret. So
sweet.
But the dude, his TED
savage.
Talks was like, when I first got my leg amputated, I watched his TED Talks and I was like, damn, because he was saying like you should always be striving for failure, because like when you're in failure is when you're like learning and growing, you know, like just the fact of like getting up, going to the gym, like, it's early as shit, you don't want to, but just that waking up and forcing yourself to do it is the win. That's already, you're starting off your day with a win, just going to do something, like having that discipline,
Yeah, well, it's like when people have kids, right? And it's, and it's just excuses too. It's like people have kids and like, I can't make it to the gym, like, but
Pull your back down.
What's that?
Pull your back down a little bit.
We're talking about somebody, and it's just like, they had kids, and then they don't work out anymore. And like one of them, like he does a little bit, but every time you hear him, it's like, I just didn't want to get up, and like that's it. Like all you got to do is stop pressing snooze.
Right.
Like all you got to do is like get that one foot out of the fucking bed.
Right.
And then you're good. But it's just like the snooze button. But I mean, the snooze button is a good analogy for life, because that's what people do, man. They hit the snooze on all kinds of shit. Hey, just wait, it'll come. Like, just wait to do that. Wait to do that. And it's just like, motherfucker, like you're not promised tomorrow. Like, why are you gonna wait? Obviously there's certain things like you really can't do right now. Like I want to go climb a fucking mountain right now, but I can't, because I'm like, I got a kid on the way and this and that. But
and that brings it back to what I always say is balance, right?
Yeah.
You gotta set the realistic. I mean, you gotta set the small goals, but they have to be, that's realistic as well.
I just hate the word realistic.
I know
dude.
you do. I know you do.
It gets to like I want to switch this out. Setting, yeah, you said attainable. That's good.
Attainable.
Or something like that.
That's what I should have said. Like setting.
I just don't believe in realistic. Like anything's realistic if you want it to be.
That's true.
So many people they're like, that's not realistic, and it's like, like I hate when people say that, because I'm like, watch. Like I'm gonna fucking show you. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's just, I don't know, that word gets under my skin. It's just one of those things.
Attainable. That's a better word. Setting, attainable goals that are like getting you ready to chase those fucking big ones, man.
Yeah. See, that's what I hear whenever I hear Jordan Peterson say something that you would do that you could do.
Yeah, I love that, dude. That's it. Yeah. That's the easiest way to start. And then
really
like,
simple. Just like something you would do that you could do.
And so those wins that you see, you're like, you come into your room later in the day and you see like, damn, like
I did do that. Look at that. And that does make me feel better.
And then you start doing like, when you like, you're breeding yourself for success, you start doing these things and you start getting that, you find joy and you're like, damn, like it feels like I read a book, just started reading again and stuff after just being lazy dumb for so many years. Yeah. So it's cool. Like I read a book and I was like, man, I feel good. Like I did something I haven't done in forever. And it was like a really cool book,
Yeah.
This is a book like my sister gave me for Christmas 2 years ago. And I like just finally read it because my girlfriend is like her favorite book. So I read it and I was like, damn, like what have I been doing? Like,
so that's the other thing that he says that when he's talking about that, he talks about that I really liked was like the something you would do that you could do type thing. He says the reason why people don't do that is because they don't think that it's important. Right. So like that's why he phrases it that way, like something that you would and could do, right? That will help, but you don't think it's big enough, right? Like you have all this crazy shit going on in your life, so you think, why the fuck do I care to make my bed, right? But like to your point, that's what may be the spark. It may be something small, but that's something you could do that would objectively make your day better. So start there.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Like, and you do those things and it, like, you find value, joy in it and stuff. And then you're going to be like, well, I want to do a little bit more. Like, this is so easy. It takes, 30 seconds to make my bed. And then you're like, well, doing this, that, and the other is going to just add. And then you're like, I feel like slowly, like the snowball effect, like when you do that stuff, you're like, just you're setting yourself up for success when you find like have those things that you do and you have that routine and that consistency. Like consistency is huge, and like a good positive consistency look like chasing what's better, you know, like consistently chasing your relentless pursuit, you know, like it's
or like the podcast, like, you know, if we decide we want to just randomly skip some weeks, you know, like that's going to be a fucking big hit. Like it's like I was talking about to you, like we've had the growth we had. Obviously what we're doing is working. All we have to do is stay consistent.
Keep putting it out.
All we got to do is stay consistent. And it's just like, I was talking to somebody, it's like, okay, you gain 1 subscriber this month, 1 this month. You gain 3 this month, 3 this month. Okay. Then you gain 10, then you gain 10. And then it's like, boom. Okay. So we gained 80 last month. Okay. Now we're going to gain 80 maybe again, or something around that number. And then you're going to gain 150 one month. Okay. Then next down the road, you're gaining 500 in 1 month, you know, but it adds up, and those are victories in themselves. Like it's just consistent growth, and it starts to really pick up some traction, because if everybody's subscribing and sharing it, then like, boom, like it's going to get shown to other places. You know what I'm saying? So
I want to touch on this real quick. One of my favorite books is The Slight Edge, and it talks about everything that we're talking about, basically that. And another one of my favorite books is Atomic Habits, which talks about changing small things and it adding up. Excuse me, but The Slight Edge is about basically like the compound interest of your actions, right? So good choices you make, bad choices you make. Right now, your bad choice you make or your good choice you make, he draws it as a graph, and I'm going to try to stay on one thing here, but we were talking about small wins and sustained progress, and you hear me say this all the time. The slow, sustained progress is not only good and not something to be upset about, but it's actually the optimum rate of progress.
Yeah.
Right? Slow, sustained progress is actually the best way.
Organic growth.
Right. And because it's organic, but also because imagine if I just handed you $10 million right now, like just randomly.
I'd buy a $10 million monster truck.
Yeah. Yes. But that's actually a great point though, right? So like I've said to you before that, you know, like with my business, for example, I think about this. Like if somebody would have just handed me, you know, $100,000 5 years ago, whenever I first started, like I wouldn't have had to have learned all the things I've learned. I wouldn't have failed and grown and all that. Like, so why do lottery winners always go broke? Why do NFL players a lot of times go broke? Because they go from nothing to everything, and it's not a good model of success. You need to slowly grow, right? So the Slight Edge talks about takes that principle and basically explains that it's essentially, that's like a law of nature almost.
Yeah.
And the compounding interest and this thing that I keep referring to. So he draws it out, and it's very detailed, and I won't do the whole thing, but basically it's like this. And then it slowly goes up, like almost unnoticeably. And it slowly goes up and it slowly goes up. But then you hit a certain point where it goes like that. And that's like almost every big success that's grown over time has been like that. It's almost nothing, then a little bit, and then, because the law of nature is basically that once you start to win or lose, but once you start to win, you win faster and more. Dude. Right. So in the Bible, it says to those who have everything, more will be given. To those who have nothing, like everything will be taken or something like that. And it's like sounds like a fucked up thing, but that's what it's talking about. It's like when people start to lose, they lose more and more. And everybody's seen people that start to spiral like that, right? A few things start to happen, and then you look up and they're way down there. Mm-hmm. So the Slight Edge is the difference between like what we're talking about. You keep doing your thing. And right now, if you and somebody else start to podcast at the same time, they may be fucking their shit up and you may be doing great, but you won't notice a bunch of separation at first. Yeah. But keep doing it. And eventually it's going to go like that. The gap grows wider and wider and wider.
But it takes time and patience.
And that momentum builds up. And so there's a lot of things that I wanted to touch on there, but one of the big things that I brought that up for is because what you mentioned, and I believe that this will happen with us, is right now I think we're ahead of schedule. Right? So
I agree.
We're already on a bigger incline than we should be. But right now we're doing this, bro, and that's coming. This part's coming.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And it's just the laws of the fucking.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, it's gonna fucking happen. I have zero doubts about it.
And that's how. But I think that's a model for everybody, right? So when you're first changing your life, when you're first making your bed, when you're first making small changes, it's like, this doesn't really make a fucking difference.
Yeah.
And somebody comes over who's living their life wrong, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, yeah, you look at them like, yeah, I mean, I'm doing all this shit. I kind of feel like me and this other guy are in the same place and he's doing all the wrong shit. Keep going.
Yeah.
That separation will start to come and you'll start to see the fruits of your labor, and then you will see more and more fruits, right? Again, the momentum builds. And once you start winning more and more and more and more. And the wins get, like with the money we were talking about earlier, you have more money, you can make a bigger difference, right?
Yeah.
So you make a small difference, which makes you a little bit of money, but that money makes you make a little bit bigger difference. And then eventually it becomes this fucking huge thing where, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
But that's when you like gain it though. That's when you earn that shit, right? If $10 million is given to you, you're not going to really make a difference with all that money.
Exactly.
Now, if you earn $10 million, you're just going to keep that momentum growing and grow.
Progress,
you know, it's like, you know, I talked about, like, I lost a lot of money after my last relationship. Sucked. I'm like, fuck. You know, and I had some, and I was like, okay, when I decided to do this with the headquarters, it's like I'm sitting at the poker table and, you know, very burn the boats mentality too. But like, I'm like, I got all these chips, right? Well, all the chips are here. And I put them all in to this. Guess what? Had not lost all that money, I'd have some other chips in the back. So I'm just like, all right, cool.
Maybe you played a little safer.
If I'm here, like I'm good. I got a backup plan. You know, I got that. But no, I took all my fucking chips and said, boom, I'm all in, baby. And there's no backup plan. This is it. I burned the ship. I burned the boats. It's boats. I burned the boats. And I have no way to go forward. And, you know, but by doing so and not having that backup piggy bank, right? It's like this forceful, like when you go all in with your chips, it's like, you know, there's no other fucking way to go, man. Like I got to move forward with this now. I got to give it everything I have. But had I, you know, had that piggy bank, you know, I may not be working as hard. It's like maybe there's some task I got to complete. I'll put them off. You know, I'll put it off more. But now I'm like, now I'm all in with this, so I have to do this now. Like, it's okay. What can we check off the box next? What can we check off the box next? There is no fucking waiting. There is no putting it off. You know, but when you have that security, you're more likely to do so. So I'm honestly grateful for, like, it sounds fucked up and like, but I'm honestly grateful for that loss because I've gained so much more from it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, 100%,
you know,
yeah.
I've gained so much more work ethic. I gained so much more dedication and just passion for everything. So, yeah, dude, you got to just kind of like re-gear your perspective, I guess, a little bit.
Well, and you two, the two of the craziest things that you two have ever said, and you both said it. I remember I brought this attention to this the first time that you were on, was that you both consider what happened to you with your accidents as like the best thing that ever happened to you. I just think that that's the craziest thing. Like last time you said it without even really meaning to, you were like, I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. Wait, what? Like, you know, so I think you guys are both living examples of that.
Yeah, dude. Fucking rocking it.
We will have to wrap up. We will have to wrap up soon, but I do, for the last couple of minutes, I do want to bring attention to y'all's shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
So I don't know when this episode's dropping. These shirts will already be dropped.
Yeah,
Or
but
maybe we can sneak it in early. We can do what we want.
Well, the reason why I want to bring attention to it is like, why?
Man, honestly,
Kind of what we were talking, for the whole reason for your trip, man. Because you matter. You need to take time to do stuff for yourself.
That's a
like,
fact.
Yeah. Like when you're saying that, like I should have said something earlier, but like that's when you're talking about that. It's like, damn, like you matter, bro. Like you need those things. You need to take time. You need to take care of yourself. You need to love yourself.
That's crazy. He was saying that as he's wearing that, and it's like, hey,
think about it.
Look down for a second.
yeah, it's just like, honestly, I wanted something simple, but like, you know, mental health's a big thing nowadays. And there's a lot of people fucking struggling, a lot of people that are very lost. And dude, you pass so many people like at the grocery store or gas station or whatever that are just like dealing with some heavy shit. And they probably feel like they're just in a dark hole. And like, I don't know, I think it's just something simple. Like, you know, people say, hey, just go up to somebody and tell them you love them.
Right.
Well, that's uncomfortable for a lot of people to go up to somebody and say that. Like they don't want to approach them. They're afraid they might offend them. You know, you never know. Like maybe this person's fine. They just look pissed off, you know, but like just by simply walking around with a shirt, like obviously we got the logo in there, but walking around a shirt that just says you matter. Someone just looks up and like, they just like, man, I just need a fucking sign to give a shit about life. And they just kind of glance over and they see the shirt and they're like,
That's beautiful.
This is like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I fucking love this dude.
Yeah,
like it makes me so happy.
Yeah, you're
just
super
like,
stoked on it, so I want to hear what you have to
it's
do.
simple but impactful.
yeah, like same. Like I love it, man. Like, yeah. Cause like what I love it. Like everything he said.
But I guess my thing is like, there's a reason why you were responding to it in that way. So like, is that?
I just think, everyone matters, and like everyone needs to love themselves. Everyone needs to take care of themselves, and whatever, you know, if they need to take time, if they need to be around friends, if they need to talk, if they need some like solitude, like do what you need to, but take care of yourself, you know, because you do matter. Someone loves you. I'm sure you love someone, you know, there's something you're passionate about and stuff. And love yourself and take care of yourself and make sure you can do the things you love, do the things you want, and take care of the people you love. And
exactly. Because a lot of people just, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that's like, man, I don't fucking matter. Like, nobody care if I was dead. And that's not fucking true. Your existence is crucial, and you're so much more capable than you realize. And I may not know you out there, but I'm fucking rooting on you. And hey, reach out to any of us. We'll always amp you up, and we'll always be there for you, man. That's what this community is about, man. It's about like raising people up, being a light in their lives, and pushing them towards greatness in everything they fucking do.
And finding their relentless pursuit. And like, you know, like that's like the coolest thing in the world. If you can like help someone find, like, you know, refine that passion, or like just being able to like kind of help people to love themselves more, like just do something that they care about.
Even that's a relentless pursuit. You know, that dude overcoming drug addiction was a relentless pursuit.
That's
you know,
so sick.
Mine is the grow relentless pursuit. You know, like we have all these different things. Being the best husband one day and father, you know, like
Pretty soon.
Joe will be the best dad, man.
that's going to be a relentless pursuit, you know, and you could have more than one. You know, not everybody's meant to start a fucking business, right? Maybe you love what you do, and that's perfectly fucking fine. But you can be the best at that, or you can relentlessly pursue something external, you know, an instrument or whatever the fuck it is, right? But yeah, Dan, that was the point of this, man. It just kind of one day I just thought about it, and I was like, I want to put that on a shirt, man, and just give people a good reminder, a positive reminder, man.
It's like my favorite one, dude, because I just like, as soon as I saw it, it just like made me happy, and I feel like other people, like when they see that, they're like my mom. I sent her a picture of it. She's like, or just a picture of me out there, and she's like, "Does that shirt say you matter?" I was like, "It does." Yes. And she's like,
Sweet.
"I want one." Because
it's awesome. It's so simple and so beautiful. Like, and I didn't even think, I obviously thought about why it's on there, but I didn't really consider even that. Like, it's a way of kind of actively reaching out to people around you without having to, you know.
And I'm excited about this launch because like all these items have a pretty deep context to them. Like I did this synthwave launch and that was fun, right? But it was just more so, and it was, relentless pursuit. Like I love it. But like, you know, what I really enjoy is just like, obviously having the logo in there big, like that doesn't have the logo on it, right? And like, but the logo's a big piece of it. Yeah, a logo's got a lot of fucking meaning to it as well. But also like, I really like to think about like like there's just the quotes and stuff. I like a cool quote on a shirt. I don't know. It's like the fucking stand for something shirt. I could break that down and like exactly why I put that.
Right.
I can, the you matter, the burn the boats and that mentality, the fucking start yesterday, you know, the only greatness, like all these different things. Like I can really just, I sat there and think about it. I'm like, man, this is like so applicable to so many people. And like, you know, it may just seem like a couple words, but words are powerful.
Have I ever told you about what they say about genius and phrases and stuff? You know, I love phrases and metaphors and analogies and shit. But I've heard that a genius is somebody that can put something simply that's complicated.
Yeah.
Right. So like,
I guess I'm a fucking genius.
So like,
hey.
So point being is, it just says stand for something, but behind those 3 words is thousands of words that you've thought about, right?
Yep.
But behind the you matter, there's thousands of words and experiences. And so you've boiled it down to 2 words, and that is genius, actually.
Thanks, man.
And that's why you get the response. It's like, why? It's like just a pretty simple thing, but like, why does it get that kind of response? Because people, you know, you can feel that energy of like, hey, this is a big concept, but that kind of just really boils it up, doesn't it? You know, like people really feel that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's dope.
Back off, Albert Einstein.
You bastard.
Just kidding. You're dead. I didn't mean to do that.
All right, Steve, what you got for us to close out? Anything?
Just want to thank you guys for having me. Love getting to hang out, talk with you guys.
Great conversation, bro.
You're the man.
I love it. I love having you here, man. It's been sweet. It's been pretty dope. Like stoked for you to come back, you know, like be on the lookout for him in the near future. He's going to bring our girl Jo out here. She's another amputee doing huge stuff, very positive, and he's going to bring his lady too, which I'm looking forward to meeting her. He said something that made me feel really good, man. He's like, dude, I found my Lydia, you know, because the way I talk about Lydia, he's like, and I was like, bro, that's fucking sweet, man.
That is
like,
sick. Good job.
Like, because that to me, like that
Good
hit.
job. What a fucking stupid thing to say.
Good for you.
That's awesome. Is what I meant to say. Good job.
It's cool. So I'm stoked to get her out here and all you guys.
Jesus Christ.
But anyways, hey.
Yeah, no, that is awesome though. That really is great.
Hell yeah. Any closing comments?
Please go support the band, by the way. Please tell them where they can find you and stuff, because I'm sure the people.
Yeah, where can they just find you on Instagram?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be definitely sharing some stuff on social media, specifically like Instagram about So Kids Can Move. I'll be putting some literature out there so you can like learn a little bit more about what I was talking about. Yeah, very excited to do that. Again, thank you, Extremity, for flying me down here. Thank you, Relentless Pursuit, for absolutely everything you guys do, and for being family, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for all the things to come, brother, man. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Steve. Glad to have you. Logan, thank you as always for being the man and asking a lot of questions that my brain just doesn't process quick enough. So I'm glad you're here. But yeah, love you guys. And hey, thanks for coming.